Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to British lakes ain't got nothing on America. And yeah, this is very true. I mean, some lakes in the US are so big, they'll be the size of like, I feel like there's probably some lakes in the US that are the size of Wales. Maybe even bigger. Because Wales is a relatively small country in Europe. In Europe's terms, it's a small country, but there's a lot of countries that are smaller. But obviously, that's a part of the UK. I'd say there's lakes in the US that may be half the size of the land of the UK. But I think they actually may be bigger than that. There's some on the border with Canada that are like, I guess they're shared lakes because they're like part in the US, part in Canada. But they're massive. But I don't know just how big they really are in comparison to the UK, or let's just say England. But we're going to check this out because obviously England, you can't really have many lakes that are that big, right? Because it's such a small island. But I am fascinated to see what is the biggest lake here because I don't even know. I don't really know many lakes in this country, to be fair. Like, I don't know much about it at all. But we're going to check this out. Hopefully you're going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon where you can see reactions that I can't post to YouTube, movies, TV series, all that sort of stuff. Links are there for those who want to see those types of reactions. But let's check this out.
So, okay, let's take a look at the greatest non-Great lake in the United States. Try saying that without coffee. I just did.
Great Lake.
Hello, I'm Lawrence Brown and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to ponds, or rather large ponds known as lakes. And depending on which side of the pond, as in the Atlantic, that you live on, the size of your average lake might well be very different. And that's because, and I hope that the Queen doesn't banish me from re-entering Britain for saying this, British lakes ain't got nothing on America. Now once again, Uncle Toby, please sit down with your protests.
Uncle Toby's been a thing for 3 years. I do forget how long I have reacted to this channel for. Because Uncle Toby, he still talks about Uncle Toby. He's got Chainsaw Jim. Uncle Toby still pops up every now and then. He's been around for a long time.
This is not some wild claim that the United States has better lakes than Britain, just bigger ones. And that's because a fairly sizable amount of American lakes are just bloody massive. And Britain shouldn't feel especially bad about this because, I mean, number one, you can't help geology. And number two, there aren't many countries that can rival the United States when it comes to big wet stuff. I'm still talking about the lakes. I know I've said this a number of times, but this video really is going to be truly deep, in that we're going to look at the depth of the lakes. And so without further ado, let's do that.
Oh, we're looking at the depth. Okay, maybe we have a chance then. Although I don't really know why that would make a difference.
At first. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you may have noticed by now that it's winter. And of course, one of the most enduring sights, admittedly, in both countries at this time of year, is people ice skating on frozen over lakes. And when I say people, I mean people that aren't me. This does happen in Britain, particularly in Scotland, where temperatures are typically coldest. But in the United States, opportunities for ice skating on lakes, or indeed that thing where you slide on your knees that I tried once and fell in, are far more greater because the temperatures here in the north, frankly, are just stupid. So not only does that mean that lakes are more likely to freeze over here in the first place, but when they do so, they remain that way for weeks. And because some American lakes tend to be really deep, you really don't want to fall in like I did, especially in your underpants.
Ice skating on a lake makes me feel so like, it's such a cringe-inducing thought because I've never really I've seen like frozen lakes before, but like frozen lakes in the UK, they're not going to be anywhere near as frozen as, again, like somewhere near Chicago or just Northern America. I definitely feel like there would have been cases where there's been accidents of people ice skating in England, if people have ever ice skated on lakes here, which they must have because it's obviously been cold here at certain points. Scotland, I mean, it is colder. It's not that much colder, but it is colder. And maybe in like the mountainous areas where there's just smaller bodies of water, maybe they can do it there. I'm not really sure.
For context, the deepest lake in the United Kingdom, located appropriately in Scotland, is, and I'm definitely going to butcher the pronunciation, Loch Murar. I am terrified I'm going to have men in kilts after me now. But Loch Murar, located in the northwest of the Highlands, is a beautiful body of water surrounded by stunning scenery. Furthermore, it plunges to a pretty sizable depth of 1,017 feet. So if you're a large monster trying to hide in Scotland, you've made a fool of yourself by not choosing this one. That said, there are several lakes in the United States that go even deeper, one of which is almost twice as much. Did that sentence make sense? I don't know. And that lake is Crater Lake in Oregon.
Oh, this is the one in the mountain, isn't it? I have heard this one is really deep.
Pilot myself, I've had the rare opportunity to fly over Crater Lake on Flight Simulator, and it really is a thing of beauty. But despite the fact that its name conjures up images of cataclysmic meteor strikes, this one was Earth's doing. Stunningly, the lake was formed following the collapse of a volcano called Mount Mazama. And I know what you're thinking, what a shame humans weren't around to see that happen. They were. While this might sound like something that happened billions of years ago, the lake's formation can be traced back to just 6,000 years BC.
Oh.
And records indicate that the collapse was actually witnessed by a native tribe along the shore of Klamath Lake. Today, it is the deepest lake in the United States with a maximum depth of 1,900
Double the size or double the depth. Damn.
43 feet. Now that's pretty impressive, but when you clicked on this video, you weren't thinking, ooh, Crater Lake, that's definitely one of the largest lakes in America, because it isn't. So without further ado, let's move on to this.
Here we go. This is what we're here for.
There are two more things that I should note about Crater Lake. Number one, it's located within inside a caldera. And number two, it doesn't even come close to matching the total area of some of America's biggest lakes. In fact, because of those two reasons, there's a third thing you can say about Crater Lake. You can usually see the other side. But the same cannot be said along large shorelines of one group of lakes in particular, the Great Lakes. And just to get a sense of how great those lakes really
Massive.
are, the largest lake by area in the entire United Kingdom is Loch Ness in Northern Ireland at 100.
In Northern Ireland? I was not thinking it would be that. I mean, I've never even heard of it before. Jeez.
51 square miles. It's pretty noticeable on a map of the UK. But here's the thing, Lake Michigan, a body of water that I just happen to live near, is not only significantly larger than Loch Ness, it's 4 times the size of Northern Ireland. And that's not even the Great Lake with the most superior size. That is Lake Superior, the largest freshwater lake in the entire world. Lake Superior clocks in at a ridiculous 31,700 square miles. And to put that in a British context, it's slightly bigger than Scotland and without the bagpipes. In all, the total combined area of the Great Lakes is 94,250 square miles. Even if you combined all of the lakes in the United Kingdom, they wouldn't come close to that. And that's because the total combined area of the United Kingdom is 93,628 square miles. And, you know, I can hear Uncle Toby going, ooh, that's not fair, because the Great Lakes are housed within Canada and the United States. That's 2 countries teaming up on admittedly 4 countries in the UK. So okay, let's take a look at the greatest non-Great lake in the United States. Try saying that without coffee. I just did. The largest lake in the United States that isn't a part of the Great Lakes still has great in the title. It's the Great Salt Lake in Utah. Okay. And having genuinely flown over this one, I can tell you it is bloody huge. So huge, in fact, that it has room for 2 different colours. At roughly 1,700 square miles, it's about 1/3 the size of Northern Ireland and 11 Loch Ness. Naturally, all 5 Great Lakes take up the top 5 positions of most voluminous lakes, so since it's a given that they would absolutely obliterate Britain's most voluminous, which US lake has the 6th most amount of water? That accolade belongs to Lake Tahoe in the Sierra Nevada, which holds a staggering 36 cubic miles of water, and if that was me, I would definitely need a wee. Compare that to 1.8 cubic miles of water. That's how much water the UK's record breaker holds. A little known lake by the name of Loch Ness. That's why it lives there. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below your favourite human.
It's not really a comparison, is it? And obviously going into this, I knew it's not really a comparison where you're going to have similar like sized lakes and stuff. But it's still cool to see, because I mean, you've got the Loch Ness Monster, right? And obviously that's one of the biggest lakes in the UK. That's why I'm sort of surprised. Like the US, like their lakes, some of the lakes in the US are like small oceans. And like you could have like loads of like fable stories, because obviously the Loch Ness Monster, it's not. Let's be real, it's like fairy tale stuff. It's like an interesting story, but it's not legit. Surely you have that. I mean, I guess you probably do have that sort of stuff with some of the lakes in the US. Maybe they're just not as well known. I don't know what led the Loch Ness Monster to be such a well known thing. I don't know, to be fair. But yeah, Lawrence, what's buried under that huge mound of snow over your shoulder? A car, a house, Uncle Toby. As a former Floridian, I have to give a shout out to Lake Okeechobee. I don't know where that is. You didn't mention the lake effect snow phenomenon. As a Michigander, I'm a Michigander, so I'm very fond of the Great Lakes. I've spent many summers camping. Imagine the summers there, man. Is there beaches on the Great Lake? Are there beaches surrounding the Great Lakes? Situated along Lake Michigan's south shores are the beaches of Indiana Dunes National Park Lakeshore. So it's all fresh water, right? That is so fascinating. So lakes with beaches. In the summer, that must be beautiful because I know this region gets really hot in the summer. Oh, it looks nice. A freshwater beach sounds quality. Is it real or was this like put here after? I'm assuming it's all real. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be real, right? Because they're walking into it. There, that going here would be nice, man. Look how, like, see-through it is. You can see, so look how clear it is, not see-through. Yeah, it looks nice, man. This would be a good location to go to in the summer for sure, especially if you live around nearby it. I bet it's a hot spot for a lot of people to go to. But hopefully you enjoyed this reaction, and that's pretty much it. Until next time, like, subscribe, peace.